Thank you. Thank you, Vicky. You asked me to introduce Pankaj. Does he really need any introduction? I honestly don't think so. And for a change, I'm not going to say the speaker does not need any introduction and then give a 10-minute introduction. So I'll straight away get on to the tete-a-tete that we are planning to have. And a very, very warm welcome to you, Pankaj, for joining us this evening. Friends, I know many of you were aware that Bindu and I celebrated our Golden Jubilee anniversary this year, in fact, this month. But not many of you would be aware that Pankaj and I also celebrated our Golden Jubilee anniversary of our friendship a year ago. In fact, the first time Pankaj and I met was in December 1969, when, as the chairman of the Students' Union of Sydenham College, I invited him to sing at our college annual day function. And trust me, you never could have seen a more nervous and scared Students' Union chairman, because that was Pankaj's first performance on stage. And he had never sung on stage before. So I just before he went up on stage, I shared my concern with him. I said, Pankaj, please, ijat bacha dena. And with that enigmatic smile that he is famous for, Pankaj just smiled at me and said, Rahul, don't worry, I'll handle the crowd. And as we all know, Pankaj has been handling crowds ever since that day. And I still remember the song he sang was कोई जब तुम्हारा हृदय तोड़ दे तब मेरे पास आना प्रिय, something, तब तुम मेरे पास आना प्रिय. And Pankaj must have broken 100 hearts that evening. The positive outcome of that was that for quite some time after that evening, I was the most popular guy in the Sydenham College, because every day 10, 20 girls would walk up to me and said, take me to Pankaj. And I said, what do you mean take you to Pankaj? He said, नहीं, he told me कि मेरा हृदय कोई तोड़ दे तो मेरे पास आ जाना, तो उसने मेरा हृदय तोड़ दिया है, so you have to take me to him. So I said, okay, I'll see. But Pankaj, being Pankaj, very, very shy at that time. I'm not so sure now, but at that time he was extremely shy, and I guess he didn't see too many of those girls. But another incident that I would like to share, Pankaj, if it is okay with you, with the Midtowners, it is an unbelievable incident. You know, I got married when I was 20 and Bindu was 19, and it was on 2nd of June. And apparently, a new bride couldn't be taken home on a Tuesday night. So the elders had gone off, but we youngsters were left behind in the reception wedding hall, and we were told not to come home till 12 o'clock. And we all said, Yaar, kya kare, Pankaj, why don't you do some singing? Now, remember, we were all 19, 20-year-olds. I was the only friend in that entire group who had a driving license. So believe it or not, me, the bridegroom, and Pankaj drove down to Pankaj's house, climbed up 4 stories, brought his harmonium down, he carrying one side, me carrying the other side, and we came back to the wedding hall, and he sang and he sang and he sang till 12 o'clock, till my father called me up and said, hello, 12 baj gaya, come back home now. And that's when we let Pankaj stop his singing. And I still remember he sang the song, Maine Dekhi Hai Hone Wali Babi. And it was a lovely evening. So thanks, Pankaj, for all these lovely moments. But tell me, I mentioned these two songs, Koi Jab Mera Hriday Tod De and Bhabi, because at that time you were singing songs which were originally sung by Mukesh ji, by Manhar Bhai, And from there, you have now come to be known as the undisputed king of ghazals. So, how was this journey? Can you share with the Midtowners some interesting tidbits? How did you manage this evolution as a singer from singing somebody else's song to being an undisputed king? We'd love to hear from you, Pankaj. You're on mute, Pankaj.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. First, Rahul, before I start talking, first of all, I would like to thank Vicky, the president, for inviting me to chat with everyone. Let me be very honest that I'm not here today as a celebrity or as someone who is a special guest. I'm certainly part of this Rotary, and I would first of all say a very, very warm hello to all my fellow Rotarians. This morning when I was having tea, I was just thinking about this evening, and there were so many thoughts which crossed my mind with regards to my experience of Rotary Midtown, Bombay Midtown. I was thinking of Mr. Om Degan. Degan ji had in fact introduced me to Rotary. And then subsequently, all the friends that I made in Rotary, and I was really missing those luncheon meeting at Taj at Ballroom. And I was also thinking of those wonderful lunches where I would order fish and chips and sit and chat with Kamlesh Bhai Sonawala and Mernosh Kadawala. We had Mrs. Nargish Wadia. We had Dr. Varsha Vadera. And we all worked together on a thalassemia project, actually, and which was very successful while we worked on it. And we raised substantial amount of funds for that particular project. So Midtown is very, very close to my heart, certainly. And it's just one of those things that I have not been attending meetings because of various reasons. With regards to my profession, the kind of work which I'm doing, which is very demanding, which makes me travel a lot in the studio work. But I must make one. I would say I must make one commitment today, which is that the moment things get better, we get out of pandemic, and when we start having regular meetings, I would certainly like to come and meet everybody in person and have my fish and chips also. So I'm really, and though Vicky may not know, but I have followed Vicky's activities through his, WhatsApp group all through the year. And I must say that he's been one of the most effective presidents who has really continued with tremendous amount of vigor and tremendous amount of commitment to Rotary. So it's indeed a pleasure catching up with all my old friends. I saw Ajit ji, whom I've known for the same time as I've known you, Rahul, and Munna Bhai and everybody. Rahul, this whole journey has been rather a roller coaster journey for me. It has been quite an experience. It has been quite an eventful journey as far as my musical journey or my music journey is concerned. And I have started writing, and hopefully, in fact, we were looking at publishing a book this year, but looking at the circumstances, we put it on a hold. And hopefully, I should come out with my memoirs with with uh, with with Penguin, the publishing book house, next year, with all my memories of all my of various stages of my career and of my personal life. Ghazal singing, as you said earlier, is a very niche, very different kind of singing, other than popular music and other than Bollywood. So obviously, it's not a routine genre of music that you pursue. I, as you said earlier, as you said in your remark about uh, me singing Mukeshji and various other singers. Let me tell you that if you go back to the 60s, uh, every uh, singer from Bollywood was an inspiration, be it Mohammad Rafi or Kishore Kumar or Mukesh Ji, Manna Dey, Hemant Kumar. They were all inspirations. I mean, for any singer, even today, I would say that even today, any upcoming singer or any aspiring singer, if a singer wants to uh, catch the best nuances of singing or get the right style of singing or get training without paying, I would say, then listen to all these maestros. They were great inspirations. At a very young age, as we were talking, I was singing a lot of Mukesh on stage, and uh, at the back of my mind somewhere, I had this uh, great liking for ghazals, and again that was a coincidence because I grew up in the whole radio era. So when I was growing up, when I was 7, 8, 9 years old, the only music I could listen to was through the radio, because I don't think that in those days I had any other options, or if we had any equipment at home that we could listen to any other music except for the radio. So I heard a lot of radio, and uh, radio always played Bollywood, as you know, in those days. There was Radio Ceylon and there was Vivid Bharati, but uh, there was All India Radio, and All India Radio played a lot of Begum Akhtar. And I think my initial exposure to this form of music was Begum Akhtar. And I think that memory of Begum's singing, her style, because see, Begum was very different from a normal Bollywood song, because she always sang ghazal in a thumri andaz, in a very classical based andaz. So that appealed to me a lot, and I did listen to Begum a lot. And subsequently, when I came to Mumbai, and when I grew up in Rajkot, by the way, my schooling was in Rajkot. My father was with the government and worked in Rajkot. So when I came to Mumbai, I was introduced to the music of Mehdi Hasan, and that music also appealed to me greatly. So I think ghazal basically became some kind of uh, a, a matter of interest, a matter of intrigue, basically. And I thought that I would want to find more about this particular form of music, or I would like to learn more about this. So I started collecting. Those days, those were the days of cassettes. So I started collecting cassettes of Mehdi Hasan, Begum Akhtar. And we three brothers, as Ajit ji would know, that his famous gas station at Warden Road was very close to that place. We three brothers, we lived together very close to that gas station. So uh, there was an ustad who used to come to teach Manerji. He used to come. You see, Manerji had got a break in cinema, in Bollywood, and he had sung a couple of famous songs, like "Aapse Humko Bichde Hue Ek Zamana Beet Gaya" with Kalyanji Anandji. So Manerji was making inroads in Bollywood, and he was uh, kind of getting a foothold in Bollywood. So Kalyanji Bhai was quite a stickler. He was very particular about a whole lot of things. So he told Manar Bhai that why don't you learn Urdu? Because if you learn Urdu, then you will learn the language. And once you know the language, and then if you sing a film song, then he said you will be able to sing in the right diction. You'll have right diction, and you'll also have the right pauses, right emphasis on the words, and right expression. So there was a very fine gentleman, Saeed Mirza Sahab. He used to come home and teach Manar Bhai Urdu. So I still remember that it was during these years of when we met in Sydenham and subsequently when I was in Xavier's. So I certainly, we all were in those days, we were all quite hypnotized by the hippie era. So I remember I had very long hair and I used to wear bell bottoms. And so uh, the Ustadji used to, kind of when he used to see me, he used to feel that, because he was very traditional, very conservative. So because he used to come in a proper Aligarhi pajama, and so I used to sit in one corner and listen to him recite couplets of Mirza Ghalib and Mir, and somehow I used to feel that yes, this is what I like. And one day, I don't know, while he was leaving, I gathered some courage and I went up to him and I said, we used to call him Maulvi Saab. So I told him, I said, Maulvi Saab, do you think I can learn Urdu, or do you think you can teach me? So he looked at me and he had kind of a smirk on his face because he said, "Ye hippie ladka hai, ye kya gaya, Urdu sikhega." So he said, "Beta, aap Urdu सीखोगे, आप तो English college में पढ़ते हो." I said, "नहीं, I want to learn Urdu." So he said, इसके लिए he said कि आपको आप में बर्दाश्त चाहिए, आप में पेशेंस चाहिए, और इतनी आसान नहीं है ये जबान. So I said, नहीं, मैं कोशिश करूंगा जरूर. So with great perseverance and with great, with a lot of pleading and all, he said, "Okay, I'll see how you do." So he started teaching me, and he realized that I was sincere about it. So he continued teaching me, and that's how I think my I would say conviction about this particular form of music became stronger. The whole thought of becoming a ghazal singer was born here. That I felt that yes, I can do this. I can sing this form of music, this particular genre of music. And slowly, when I started sitting with him, learning the language, whenever I'm asked this question, I always say that as to when people ask, why did you choose to sing ghazals? I always say that I fell in love with the language. And that's the reason why I sing ghazals.
Great. Well, you fell in love with ghazals, and somewhere along the line, you fell in love with Farida also.
But just see, her name is also like a ghazal.
Absolutely.
So
but it's amazing, I mean, you are a pure Kathiawadi from Rajkot. Your wife,
yes,
true-blooded Parsi, and yet you have sort of mastered Urdu and mastered Ghazal. So I'm sure you must have received a tremendous amount of support from Farida. The journey must not have been all a bed of roses. You've been, I'm sure you must have gone through ups and downs. And full marks to Farida for the support she has given you.
Oh yes, yeah. She's been a major pillar of strength as far as I'm concerned. She has really stood by me, and it's not only standing by you, but I think to inspire you, to encourage you to do, because it's possible that a wife might just get bored as to what is this guy doing, what is he singing, why is he not singing some dinchak stuff, and why is he singing this. So I think it's very important that you have a wife who understands your aspirations, who understands your ambitions, and encourages you and supports you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But Pankaj, whilst you were making your observations, you mentioned Begum Akhtar and you mentioned
जी
Mirza Ghalib. Now,
जी
when you think of Mirza Ghalib, when you think of Begum Akhtar, you think of
जी
a very high level of music,
जी
a very elite
जी
music and meant for the upper crust of the society.
right
Uh,
right
you, I think, were probably the most instrumental in bringing the ghazals and that form of music down to the masses. But I have used a phrase which I'm very against. People always say Pankaj brought the ghazals down to the level of masses. I'm saying, I
जी
have always
जी
said Pankaj brought the masses up to the level of ghazals. What made you sort of uh, choose this route? Because ghazals was never about, I mean, it was about sharab and shabab and all that,
जी
but it was never the kind of light-hearted sort of and simple language
जी
that you introduced to the genre. How did you happen to sort of pick up this unusual route?
Rahul, it's a very good question. It's a very I would say important question for my to talk about my career and why it is so relevant to my career. Uh, See, when as we were talking about Begum Akhtar and Mehdi Hasan and Mirza Ghalib, so I was introduced to a poet by my elder brother Manaji. Uh, a poet, his name was Sheikh Adam Abu Ala. Sheikh Adam belonged to Ahmedabad. He was basically a Bori from Gujarat, from Ahmedabad. But he was an Urdu scholar. He was an Arabic scholar of Arabic and English, and he was a brilliant poet. He wrote in Gujarati, but his poetry in Urdu was outstanding. And uh, I was introduced to Sheikh Adam through my brother, and it so happened that we talked about ghazal, and Sheikh Adam was obviously a very wise man, so he realized my passion about this particular form of music, and so we started meeting and we started sitting and chatting, and so Sheikh Adam, so at that was a point when I was working on my first album. I was about to record my first album. So what I was doing is intikhab. In Urdu, intikhab means selection. So I was basically doing intikhab. I was selecting poetry for my first album. To select poetry, we went through a lot of, in Urdu, the whole collection of a poet is called Diwan. So we went through Ghalib's Diwan and Mir ka Diwan, or sab Diwan pad liye, because we were looking for poems. The problem with not the problem, I wouldn't say problem, but uh, what we observed through this was that uh, Ghalib's language. Ghalib was a genius, a great poet, and even today, I think I'd put Ghalib in the category of someone like Isaac Newton, or Albert Einstein, because Ghalib was a genius in terms of his thought process and his writing and everything. But Ghalib's language was a very complex language, because Ghalib, when he wrote in a language which is comprising of Urdu, Arabic, Persian. So one couplet of Ghalib had couple of words of Urdu, couple of words of Arabic, and three, four words of Persian. So for a layman, it was very difficult to understand what Ghalib was trying to say. So you literally had to sit with a dictionary and figure out कि इस शेर का मतलब क्या. So Ghalib was very relevant to that era when he was around during the Mughal era, because everyone spoke that language. But when I was about to record the album, that language was not spoken. And that language was not really kind of very common with people. So both myself and Sheikh Adam kind of came to a conclusion or a thought that why do record something which is going to be very difficult for someone to understand. So why not record poetry which is simple in words, or the language is a language of today, and the content is not diluted, the content is same. So we started looking for content which would have this kind of character. That simple words, but meaningful poetry. So I'll give you an example. We picked one poetry, and we felt this is a poet called Nuh Narvi. This poet is nearly 200 plus years old, but just see the poetry which has the language of today. आप जिनके करीब होते, आप जिनके करीब होते, वो बड़े खुश नसीब होते हैं, आप जिनके करीब होते हैं. So we picked this poem. Now it's got such a beautiful thought कि आप जिनके करीब होते हैं वो बड़े खुश नसीब होते हैं. So it's like, if you know, if you go for a literal meaning, then it says okay, you are talking about your beloved, you know, आप जिनके करीब होते हैं वो बड़े खुश नसीब होते हैं. But then there was so much of spiritualism in those days. So it meant that आप means God Almighty. The person is lucky, is the person who has God Almighty in front of him. आप जिनके करीब होते हैं वो बड़े खुशनसीब होते हैं. So the point is that we started looking at poems which have a meaning. Like for example, I picked a ghazal of Ahmad Faraz, simple poetry, lekin you know, it had the thought which even today, like what we are going through, it's so very relevant in this poetry. कठिन राह गुजर, थोड़ी दूर साथ चलो, कठिन राह गुजर, थोड़ी दूर साथ चलो, बहुत कड़ा है सफर, थोड़ी दूर साथ चलो. कठिन है राह गुजर, थोड़ी दूर साथ चलो. And then came a ghazal, talking about simpler words. Came a ghazal where I sang something which has become a WhatsApp viral now, which is so relevant to current times, which was a ghazal. निकलो ना बेनका, जमाना खराब है. निकलो ना बेनका, जमाना खराब है. और उस पे ये शबा, जमाना खराब है. निकलो ना बेनका, जमाना खराब है. So simplicity in poetry, but meaningful poetry. So this is the approach we adopted. So it was very thought of. It was not accidental. It was not accident. And the whole approach was like the question which you asked, that the whole approach was that how do we reach out to people? We want to reach out to people. And mind you that when I came on the scene, there was a bit of a disconnect between ghazal singing and people. The only senior I had who had made contact with the larger audience was late Jagjit Singh. That he had kind of made a more popular approach to people, and he had kind of made a contact with people. So I think the whole idea was to reach out to people. I think God is very kind that we could do that. We could reach out to people, and somehow, as they say, that you always get the bouquets and the brickbats. So I was prepared, mentally prepared for it, that the purist may say that okay, this is not right, that is not right, but I was prepared for it. I said I would do something whereby I can reach out to a larger audiences, larger number of people. So I think it worked at the end of the day.
Definitely, definitely, Pankaj, it worked. But you mentioned Jagjit Singh,
Jay.
great singer,
Oh,
undoubtedly.
yes.
I remember, I think in the late 90s, if I remember rightly, or the
Jay.
beginning of the 21st century, there was a huge debate raging
Jay.
as to who is the better singer, Pankaj
Jay.
Udhas or Jagjit Singh.
Jay.
And I can never forget, in those days, Midday used to be a very popular tablet. And one person wrote in the letters to the editor that,
Jay.
look, I don't understand music, so I cannot comment on who is a better singer. But all I can tell you is that just few months ago, I have lost my 18-year-old son. And the only time I'm able to find some solace is when I listen to Pankaj Udhas. I mean, it still gives me the goosebumps. How more how better can a compliment a singer get?
Oh,
That
that's very
he was
kind of you.
able to make a man forget the pain of his 18-year-old son's death. But it just shows that you have this ability to touch people's hearts. uh, what is it that sort of makes your voice touch somebody's heart? Is it some kind of an emotion that you bring on to your singing? Is it something deliberate? Is it something that just comes naturally because you are a very gentle soul? So does that come across? What is it? Have you ever tried to analyze it?
Oh, first of all, let me tell you that it's not. First of all, I would still consider that Jagjit Singh ji he was a great singer, and the beauty of ghazal singing is Rahul. that every artist is a star in his own category, in his own rights. Every artist is a gem in his own rights. Like, because of one reason, that every popular ghazal artist has had his own inimitable style. See, you take Mehdi Hasan. Mehdi Hasan had his own voice, his own style. You take Ghulam Ali, he had his own style, own singing. You take Jagjit Bhai, Jagjit ji had his own style of singing. He was so different from the rest of the world. You take me, my style is very different from the rest of them. So the point is that that's what is most important about this particular genre. That whoever has made a name in this particular genre has had his own style of singing, his own style of emoting, and I think that's the most important part. And as far as the emotions are concerned, Rahul, I think as far as I'm concerned, I have never ever in my life tried to emote. I still remember I have sung a lot of film songs, for example. And as you know, that in films, the director is always more demanding than anyone else. And so I remember that when I'm singing, when I've recorded a film song, when I would be recording a film song, the the concerned director would come to me and say, "Pankaj ji, इसमें सारे emotion डाल दो बस, ऐसा हो जाए कि लोग रोने लगे." So, I mean, I would just listen to the guy. I mean, I wouldn't be able to say, okay, I can't really start acting, I have to sing. So the point is that emotions are, you can't push emotions or you can't push sentiments in any of these things. They have to flow naturally. They have to come naturally. And as far as I'm concerned, I think whatever I sing comes from the heart, and I never try and make an effort, okay, to put extra emotions and to do this. And the biggest example is the song Chitti Aayi. I still remember that when we recorded Chitti Aayi Hai, no doubt I had rehearsed the song about six times during the making of the song. And the uh, song was pretty complicated in the sense that it was, first of all, it was a very long song. It had three verses and nearly some 30 odd lines. So it was not just one of the short Bollywood songs where there are two antras and there are but 6 lines. Uh, the other thing was that it was a situational song. So it demanded those emotions. So when I rehearsed the song was rehearsed at Lakshmikantji's house. The music director, Lakshmikant Peral, Lakshmikantji's house. Lakshmikantji had composed the song. And Mahesh Bhatt was the director of the film. In fact, you were there, Rahul. When we shot the song, you had come. Yeah. I remember. I just would like to tell everyone, all my fellow Rotarians, for their knowledge, that when the song Chitti Aayi Hai was picturized on me, and at the time of the picturization of the song, Rahul was very much there one evening. I still remember. So uh, Mahesh Bhatt and the rest of the crew, and Rajendra Kumar ji, who was the producer of the film, and Anand Bakshi ji, who was writing the song, and all of us sitting, and we were uh, working on the song. So I spent 5 days with Lakshmikant ji working on this song. So I kind of imbibed the whole song. I kind of got to the bottom of the songs, the situation, as to how emotional this song was. And then when we went to the studio, uh, you'll be surprised that such a long song, and it was such a difficult song. But I sat on the mic, I rehearsed it once with the orchestra, and the second time, when Lakshmikanji said, "Ke Pankaj, should we take?" I said yes, and we started recording the song. And I sang the whole song in one go. And when I finished, I thought that Lakshmikanji will say, okay, we do one more take. Instead, he came out and he said, Pankaj, uh, perfect. He said, brilliant. So I couldn't believe myself. So he said, come inside. So we went into the mixing room and everyone was standing there. Rajendra Kumarji and Mahesh Bhatt. Both my brothers were there, Manojji and Nirmal. And Mrs. Lakshmikant would never go for any recording. Even she had come that day. So she was there. And I could see everyone wiping tears. So I couldn't believe. So then they played the song. I heard the whole song. And I realized that those 5 days that I had grasped, all the emotions and everything about this song, about the situation of this boy who was run away from home, who's staying abroad and has not been in touch with the parents and whatever it is. Suddenly, all those emotions came alive. And while I was singing, it all came out. And everybody said the same thing that Pankaj, how did you put in all these emotions? And I said, I don't know. So I guess this is something which is natural, and I think Vicky is saying so. I'll sing a couple of lines of this song. चिट्ठी आई है 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 वतन से चिट्ठी आई है बड़े दिनों के बाद हम बेवतनों को याद बड़े दिनों के बाद हम बेवतनों को याद वतन की मिट्टी आई है चिट्ठी आई है चिट्ठी आई है चिट्ठी आई है वतन से चिट्ठी आई है
Fantastic, fantastic.
Thank you, Rahul.
But trust me, I would advise all Midtowners never ever attend the shooting of a song, because I was there when this iconic song was being picturized, and it was so frustrating. I mean, every time Pankaj would start singing, Chithi aayi hai, cut, and Pankaj would stop singing. And again, something would happen. Somebody had moved in the audience or something had gone wrong. And again, Pankaj would start singing, Chithi aayi hai, cut. And those cuts were so infuriating. And I'll share this with you. Probably the only time somebody has walked out of a Pankaj Udas program, but a common friend of mine, Jay Gadvi, I'm not sure if
Jai,
you.
yes. Jai was there. Yes,
So
yes.
Jay and I, we went up to Pankaj, and in Gujarati we said, "तारी चिट्ठी आवे के नहीं आवे, हमें तो जाइए छिए." And he walked out because
I
it was,
remember. Yes,
yeah.
yes,
But
yes.
tell me, since we are talking about Bollywood,
Ji.
virtually every Bollywood song that you have sung has been a super hit. And yet, there have been very, very few songs, relatively speaking, that you have sung. Why is that? Is it that you are not comfortable with the Bollywood kind of music, or you're just not getting the right kind of songs for you to sing? Uh, what is the logic?
No. I would say that Chitti Aayi Hai was after the release of film Naam and Chitti Aayi Hai. Obviously, I was really offered many film songs and with the popularity of this song. And I have sung a lot of film songs, but the two things which I would attribute to my singing less in cinema to two aspects. One is that I was, and even now, I've been driven by this passion of ghazal singing. I have pursued ghazals to no end. So when it came to priority, priority was ghazal, always. And in those days, I used to travel a lot for concerts all around India and outside India. I did a lot of concerts. I was traveling, and even now, I mean, it's because of the pandemic that I don't travel. But otherwise, even now, I travel a lot across the world and within India for concerts. So why do I do concerts? I mean, do I need to do this? Do I need to run around, leaving my home and the comfort of my home and go to all XYZ cities in the world to sing? But it's because that I'm driven by this passion. I want to connect with the youth. I want to tell the youth that listen to this music. This is not cinema music. This is different music. So I want to bring them into my fold. I want to make sure that people reach out to my music. So and reach out to Ghazal basically. That's the passion. So in the bargain, what happened was that every time a song would be ready for recording, when they would inquire that we want Pankaj Udas to sing, let's say Pankaj Udas is in US, Pankaj Udas is in UK, Pankaj Udas is traveling in India. So, and most of these cinema songs, they don't wait because they have the shooting dates and they have shooting schedules and all. So they need the song to be recorded. So I have missed out on a lot of songs on that account. The second thing is that I have also been very selective. That I made it very clear to most of the music directors that I would not be interested in singing any song. I would like to sing substantial songs, songs which have a meaning, songs which have some kind of poetic value, lyrical value. So uh, most of the music directors basically knew that if we want to make a song for Pankaj Udas, we should tune it accordingly. We should bring in those kind of lyrics. So, for example, I sang this song which became very popular, but again, it was and two young music directors, Nadeem Shravan, they did the song. जिए तो जिए कैसे बिन आपके जिए तो जिए कैसे बिन आपके लगता नहीं दिल कहीं बिन आपके जिए तो जिए कैसे बिन आपके. So, like for example, there was a song of Viju Shah, which I sang for a film. So, this connection is wrong. In fact, this song is a favorite of the younger generation, and the song was quite a challenge. The lyricist was very famous lyricist called Pandit Indivarji. So Indivarji took this challenge that ये गाना मैं ऐसा लिखता हूँ कि इसमें उर्दू का कोई वर्ड नहीं होगा, हिंदी के सारे शब्द हिंदी के होंगे. So just see how beautifully he's written this. ना कजरे की धार ना मोतियों के हार, ना कोई किया सिंगार, फिर भी कितनी सुंदर हो तुम, कितनी सुंदर हो। ना कजरे की धार, ना मोतियों के हार, ना कोई किया सिंगार, फिर भी कितनी सुंदर हो तुम, कितनी सुंदर हो। सिंगार तेरा यौवन, यौवन ही तेरा गहना, सिंगार तेरा यौवन, यौवन ही तेरा गहना, तू ताजगी फूलों की क्या सादगी का कहना, उड़े खुशबू जब चले तो, बोले तो बजे सितार, ना कजरे की धार, ना मोतियों के हार, ना कोई किया सिंगार, फिर भी कितनी सुंदर हो तुम, कितनी सुंदर हो।
Lovely, 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 Pankaj.
Thank you, thank you.
But tell me, you mentioned about this. You pay a lot of attention to lyrics, but which brings
जी
me to this question, which I'm sure many of us would be interested to know. How do you select a song? I mean, I'm sure as a
जी
popular singer,
जी
you
जी
must be getting approached by hundreds of people, saying कि मेरी मेरी गजल गाइए or
हम्म,
whatever.
हम्म।
But how do you select that this is the ghazal or this is the
Uh,
nazam? You are,
Rahul, it's a. Let me be very honest. That you have to live with the words. You have to literally live with the lyrics. Uh, you have to like literally feel it. You have to really kind of get those words into your system, and maybe and then you kind of realize what how this song would shape up as a song. I'll give you an example that uh, the song which I sang, Niklo Na Benakab Zamana Kharab. Now, that is one aspect uh, that I was sitting with the poet, Mumtaz Rashid is his name. And we were in a sitting, we were sitting and working on a project, and we were working on some of his lyrics only. So we were sitting and we were chatting, and suddenly, I don't know, we were talking about some current situation, terrorism, something, God knows. And I said, Zamana bahut kharab. So he said, Ek minute. So he wrote in his Urdu this thing. And he said, Zamana kharab hai. Next thing he wrote, Niklo na benaqab, Zamana kharab hai. Aur us pe ye shabab zamana.
wow, wow.
So there are some incidents where it has been very spontaneous. But there has been there have been instances where a poet would give me his poetry, like a very young gentleman, Rajesh Reddy. Then he had given me some of his ghazals, and I was sitting with it, and somehow I was just uh, reading it time and again and trying to figure out. So I picked one ghazal, and that ghazal was way away from the normal romance and normal flowery language of Urdu. The matla was यहाँ हर शख्स हर पल हादसा होने से डरता है. यहाँ हर शख्स हर पल हादसा होने से डरता है. खिलौना है जो मिट्टी का फना होने से डरता है.
Wow, wow.
और उसमें एक शेर था. That शेर actually caught my attention. शेर ये था कि मेरे दिल के किसी कोने में, मेरे दिल के किसी कोने में एक मासूम सा बच्चा, मेरे दिल के किसी कोने में एक मासूम सा बच्चा, बड़ों की देख कर दुनिया बड़ा होने से डरता.
Wow, क्या बात, क्या बात.
Now just imagine, it has no romance, it has nothing, but it is so very true. It's the full of reality. It's full of hard facts of life. So, and then आगे एक शेर कहा कि अजब ये जिंदगी की कैद है दुनिया का हर इंसान. अजब ये जिंदगी की कैद है दुनिया का हर इंसान रिहाई मांगता है रिहा होने से डरता है.
Superb, superb, superb.
So now this, I recorded this ghazal and it went on to become one of the most memorable or one of the most uh, appreciated ghazals that I've sung. I sang a nazam, like there is ghazal and nazam. So nazam is also Urdu poetry. The difference between ghazal and nazam is that ghazal is made up of couplets. So, and generally in Urdu, in ghazal, couplets have no connection. I mean, each and every couplet can have a different, each one couplet is a complete thought. Whereas nazam is more like storytelling. So nazam has uh, a story like Ek tha Raja, Ek thi Rani, and it has its end. So nazam is like more like a continuous thought process. So ek nazam a poet gave me, and I told him, I said, he had titled it Dada Hayat The Jab. So I told him, I said, मेरी समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. Then he wrote a mukhada and everything, and then I sat and worked on it. And today, Rahul, that nazam has gone viral. It is being circulated all around. It talks about 4 generations. And the values. How time has changed, how values have changed. So it talks about our forefathers, Dada ka zamana, hamare buzurgon ka zamana. Then it talks about Abba ka waqt, yani times of our parents. Then it talks about Ab Mera Daur hai. It talks about the contemporary era. And the last verse talks about our future generation. Now this is a completely different from, again, completely different from. So I composed this, and this went on to become so very, very popular, this nazam, that I feel that basically you have to live with the words, Rahul. And you have to feel them, you have to live with them, and then probably you feel that, yes, this is what I want to sing.
You know,
I mean, you can't just,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
no, you can't just select, randomly that, okay, this is what I'm going to sing. No.
So you have to feel the essence of that nazam,
Yes.
ghazal, whatever,
Correct.
so
Correct.
that you can translate that to your audience.
Right.
Yeah, okay, I've understood that. But you mentioned that you composed this particular song, and we are not going to let you go without you singing a couple of lines of that song.
जी.
ये भी वो भी एक जमाना था, ये भी एक जमाना
जी.
था, if I remember rightly. But just a very small technical question before I request you.
जी. जी.
There is the writer, there is the music composer, and of course the singer, and there is this word called arranger.
जी.
Now, what is the difference between the music composer and the music arranger?
Okay. Now, I am the composer, for example. So I've composed this tune. दुख सुख था एक सबका अपना हो या बेगाना एक वो भी था जमाना एक ये भी है जमाना. This is what I've composed. But then there is an interlude music which goes like this. So this music is composed by the music arranger. And music arranger is the person in the studio. Now, when I sing, there is a harmony which is playing at the back. of the song. So he fixes all the chords of the harmony. So those harmonic chords are played by guitar, by keyboard, by vibraphone. And then all the interlude musics are composed by the music arranger. So his job is to it's like put the ornaments on. You know,
Yeah.
there's a basic skeleton, and then he gives it a body with his music arrangement.
So he is really the Tribhuvan Das Bhimji who adds
Perfect.
to the original beauty
Yes,
of the lady. Okay.
that decks up the song.
But
Yes.
perhaps then the arranger has not been given that due credit
The
enough.
due credit, but I'll tell you, I've always done so.
You have always
And
done that.
yes, and I'll continue doing it so, because I think most of my work, the music arrangement has always been outstanding, because I've I've worked with some of the finest music arrangers in the business. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Tell me, I'm sure during this entire journey there have been some life-changing moments, so to speak. I know we spoke about your journey much earlier, but
Ji.
I think one of those life-changing moments, if you agree with me, was when you hit across Ghungaru Toot Gaye.
Ji.
I think how I mean, it's a fascinating thing. How did you come across that song, and how did you
Yeah.
create this? I mean, forget viral. I think Ghungaru Toot Gaye was something that
Ji.
completely changed the face of Indian ghazal music.
It's a very interesting story. In 1976, I came across a version of Ghungaru Toot Gaye, which was sung by Ustad Rais Khan, the sitar maestro. So he had sung it in a private mehfil somewhere. So I heard that, and I fortunately got hold of a cassette of that. And I was on my way to America and Canada in '76. So I was due for, I was doing concerts I was going to do concerts in Canada. And so I said to myself, I said, this song is very catchy. So let me rework on this. So I sat and I heard Rais Khanji's version once, twice, thrice, 10 times. Then slowly I made my own version of the song. And I said, let me try it at a concert. So I sang it at a concert. And it was an instant hit. Then I kept on singing in Canada. You will not believe that in those days, what people used to do, that they used to record these live concerts. And then the cassettes used to circulate. People used to make copies and circulate the cassettes. So this cassette of my singing Ghungaru Toot Gaye started circulating all around. So like today, how WhatsApp goes viral with your song or whatever it is, your song goes viral on a WhatsApp. The same way a cassette used to go viral. So my Ghungaru Toot Gaye cassette went viral. So by the time I came back after my concert tour to Mumbai, half of the people in Mumbai had already heard this.
Okay.
So that's how this song caught on. And it's unbelievable, but over a period of time, nearly 40 years plus, 45 years, that song has stayed with me. Even today,
Absolutely.
that when I do a concert. So I think today we'll end with me singing Ghungaru Toot Gaye.
Not going to
That's
end.
a good
Not going to end. But I want you to sing.
I think we've been at it for about an hour now.
I don't think any of the Midtowners is going to mind it.
It's time for a drink for everybody now. मोहे आई न जग से लाज, मैं इतना जोर से नाची याद, के घुंघरू टूट गए, के घुंघरू टूट गए, के घुंघरू टूट गए, के घुंघरू टूट गए। कुछ मुझ पे नया जो बनता, कुछ प्यार का पागलपन भी था, हर पलक मेरी तीर बनी, और जुल्फ मेरी जंजीर बनी। लिया दिल साजन का जी, लिया दिल साजन का जी, वो छेड़े पायलिया ने, के घुंघरू टूट गए, के घुंघरू टूट गए, के घुंघरू टूट गए, के घुंघरू टूट गए।
Superb, superb.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you.
One question or one observation. You have also sung the ghazal or the poetry of one of our own Midtowners, Kamlesh Bhai.
Ji.
How was your experience working with Kamlesh Bhai? And you have to, of course, share with the club either a Gujarati or a Hindi, Urdu ghazal.
Kamlesh Bhai is a great personality and a wonderful friend, and what a passionate man he is. And can you believe he called me recently, I think a couple of months back, called me up, said, Pankaj Bhai, I have got some words. He said in Gujarati કે એક ગઝલ આવી છે મનમાં અને મેં લખી છે, હું તમને મોકલું છું, આપણે રેકોર્ડ કરીએ. We'll record it. So I said, okay, Kamlesh Bhai. So Kamlesh Bhai sent it. Unfortunately, after that we got into second wave, and then things got so bad, so ugly, that we could not get into that recording part of that. But at any given time, he's so very passionate about music, so very passionate about poetry. So he had given me this poem. He had given me a poem to sing. He said, please, Tame, you compose it and we'll record it. So I composed it. So he had given me another ghazal also, which was not supposed to be recorded. We were not supposed to record that ghazal. He just gave me the matla. So I was just sitting and I was playing the harmonium and I was doing my riyaz. And so suddenly I thought of those words and I composed this ghazal and we went and recorded that. So if I'm not mistaken, I remember the tune. I'm trying to remember the matla. दिल मा छुपायो दरियो डूबવાનો डर નથી दिल मा छुपायो दरियो डूबવાનો डर નથી. It was, the first line was this. I'm trying to remember the second line, but I can't remember. But this was the Gujarati ghazal of Kamlesh Bhai that I had recorded.
बोलो छोटा, what a wording आप बोले.
You're on mute.
Yeah, I can tell you. નભમાં છુપાયું, નભને છુપાયું દિલમાં, ઉડવાનો ડર નથી. દિલમાં છુપાવ્યો દરિયો, ડૂબવાનો ડર નથી.
હા, નભને છુપાવ્યું. નભને છુપાવ્યું.
નભને છુપાયું એવી ઊંઘ બી ભૂલી ગયો. દિલમાં આખું કે છે
હા,
ઉડવાનો ડર નથી.
નભને છુપાવ્યું દિલમાં, ઉડવાનો ડર નથી. દિલમાં છુપાવ્યું દરિયોને, ડૂબવાનો ડર નથી. Correct.
તમારી ગાડીમાં છે આ ગાયન, સાંભળજો કાલે.
Well, Pankaj,
Ji.
that was incredible. I mean,
No, it's. Let me tell you, this evening has been so wonderful. Yes, Vicky is saying so. I'll sing sing the last song, which is Vicky's request. Now, President ko mana kaise kar sakte hain?
yes. He has to renew your membership, Pankaj.
Pankaj ji, full song from your side.
Let me. चांदी जैसा रंग है तेरा, सोने जैसे बाल। चांदी जैसा रंग है तेरा, सोने जैसे बाल। एक तू ही धनवान है गोरी, बाकी सब कंगाल। जिस रास्ते से तू गुजरे वो फूलों से भर जाए, तेरे पैर की कोमल आहट सोते भाग जगाए। जो पत्थर छू ले गोरी तू वो हीरा बन जाए। तू जिसको मिल जाए वो, तू जिसको मिल जाए वो हो जाए माला माल। एक तू ही धनवान है गोरी, बाकी सब कंगाल। धनक घटा कलियार तारे, सब है तेरा रूप। गजलें हो या गीत हो मेरे, सब में तेरा रूप। यूं ही चमकती रहे हमेशा तेरे हुस्न की धूप। तुझे नजर ना लगे किसी की, तुझे नजर ना लगे किसी की, जिए हजारों साल। एक तू ही धनवान है गोरी, बाकी सब कंगाल। चांदी जैसा रंग है तेरा, सोने जैसे बाल। एक तू ही धनवान है गोरी, बाकी सब कंगाल। बाकी सब कंगाल।
You know what I feel like saying, Pankaj?
हाँ।
एक तू ही सिंगर, बाकी सब बेकार.
I think that's very generous, Rahul.
No, but thank you. Sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
don't say thank you. Please don't say thank you.
No, no.
I just wanted to say that so much of nostalgia and so much of so many wonderful memories with Rotary Midtown. And as I said earlier, that I pray to God that yes, we can all meet in person and at the ballroom. Yes, and in fact, if you remember yesterday only, I was remembering all my my condolences to all the families, because we were remembering Mr. Gokul Das and we were remembering Santosh ji, and so it's yes, I am, though I may not be attending meetings, but I am very much in touch with Rotary through Vicky's wonderful posts and everything, and In fact, I would certainly say that once this pandemic gets over, we all meet up, we all catch up. So lovely to see
Actually,
so
one more
many of
request has
my
come.
Jay.
One more request has come from the members. Many requests have come to me
I
personally.
know,
but
Vicky. Yes, yes.
I will give you one request, which is a popular request. ये गाना था ना, ये अपना एक तरफ उसका घर.
This will go on forever. So for that, what we have to do is that we have to do a separate concert, and we'll all certainly get together and sing all the songs which you want me to sing.
Last few words of this, few words, and
Jay,
then
Jay. Yeah. गमे जिंदगी कुछ तो दे मशवरा, गमे जिंदगी कुछ तो दे मशवरा, एक तरफ उसका घर, एक तरफ मैं कदा, एक तरफ उसका घर, एक तरफ मैं कदा, मैं कहाँ जाऊं होता नहीं फैसला, मैं कहाँ जाऊं होता नहीं फैसला, एक तरफ उसका घर, एक तरफ मैं कदा, एक तरफ उसका घर, एक तरफ मैं कदा. Thank you, Vicky.
Thank you, Pankaj.
And yes, I just saw Naveen Bhai. How are you? It's such a pleasure saying hello to Naveen Bhai.
How Pankaj Bhai? So
Naveen
very,
Bhai.
very happy to hear you today after
Yes,
so many
Naveen
years.
Bhai.
You
Yeah,
have been
I know.
living in our hearts for so many
Thank
years.
Thank you.
And
Ajit,
although we
so
are
good to
neighbors,
see
this
you.
pandemic
Yes,
doesn't
yes,
allow
yes.
us to get together. But we
I
must get
know,
together.
I know.
And
Sure, we'll
So,
catch up.
Pankaj,
We'll catch
Pankaj,
up. Sure.
I know we are running out of time, and I
Jay.
also have to leave for another meeting. But
Jay.
you did say that you are keen to be active again with Midtown, but your timings and your professional commitments are
Jay.
making it difficult. So I'll only like to repeat 2 lines of your own ghazal,
Jay.
which you had spoken about in this meeting. And
Jay.
I know it's going to be difficult for you to participate actively, but Kathin hai raha magar thodi dur saath.
No, certainly. I will certainly make time, and we'll certainly catch up, all of you.
So Vicky,
really wonderful to be with all my fellow Rotarians, and I wish all of you good health and stay safe, stay happy and healthy.
Pankaj Bhai, you give an excellent program. And
Thank you, Rohit Bhai.
I can tell you that though you are not physically present, but the way you explained all the meetings that you have been listening to, and we are very much connected to Rotary Midtown. That is my happiest moment for me to understand that.
Thank you, Rohit Bhai. And I cannot forget the fundraiser which we had all done together. You were the main, you were the backbone of that fundraiser. I still remember.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Pankaj. I still want to continue that.
We'll do that. Certainly.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Pankaj ji.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you.
Yeah, before I hand over the vote of thanks to our Suruchi, I will say a few words. We really enjoyed listening to the glimpses of the journey of your life. You know, Pankaj ji, actually grown up listening to you.
Thank you.
Chitti hai, Chandi jaisa rang ho tera, and Niklo na Begnaka. And you have been an integral part of the prime part of our life, you know,
Thank you.
all of us.
Thank you. Thank you.
And the heydays of our life. But more than that, you are our club member and a friend and a Midtowner, and that's the most important for us. And you have done so many projects with us in the past and contributed. now, once again, you're back with us. And that is what has made me so very happy that you're back to
Thank
us
you.
again.
Thank you. Thank you, Vicky.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks
And
a lot.
may I ask Suruchi now to do the vote of thanks?
She's muted.
Suruchi, you're muted. Suruchi, you're muted.
Right. Thank you so much. On behalf
Namaste,
of-
Suruchi ji. Thank you.
Namaskar,
Thank you. Namaskar, namaskar, namaskar.
It was such a beautiful experience, and I feel so privileged. And I feel we absolutely
you.
had amazing time with you
Thank you,
to go
Suruchi ji.
so frankly into your childhood
Thank
growth
you.
and all the love and
Thank
adoration,
you.
how it has
Thank you.
developed inside you, and
you.
your beautiful songs.
Thanks a
Chandi
lot. Thank you. Thanks.
So,
Thanks.
Chandi jaisa tu hi dhanwan, that is the best. And also for you to reach out to one of us, Kamlesh Bhai's music. It
Yes,
was a
certainly.
lovely way of touching us. I can feel that, you know, you are so, your cup is so full that it is running to all of us. It is overflowing.
Thank you. Thank you,
So
Suruchi.
beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you,
That's-
Suruchi ji. Thank you. Thank you.
And looking
Thank you.
forward for you to participate.
Certainly.
Have
Certainly.
a very
Thank you.
beautiful concert and a lovely
Thank you.
time. And be
Thank you.
safe with all of
Thank
you
you.
at home.
Thank you. Thanks a
Bye.
lot.